Catapulting Commissions family. What's up, guys? Welcome back to this week's episode of Catapulting Commissions. I'm your host, Anthony Garcia. Now, today's guest, we're going to talk a little bit about his background so you'll gain some further understanding on exactly who Justin Breen is. But here's what we're going to discuss, and here's what you're going to learn. One of the biggest fundamentals we talk about on Catapulting Commissions is the ability to sell. You're selling a product, you're selling a widget. That's given. There's a million podcasts that talk about it. But to sell yourself, to sell your vision, to sell your idea, that's the true definition of catapulting commissions. People buy into you. Justin Breen has built an amazing world-class business, BrEpic Communications. And if I butcher that, Justin, help me out on that. But it is one of the top PR firms out of Chicago. And when you hear his story, Justin's not chasing clients. He's really selective with who he works with and has clients coming to him. Now, as a lifelong sales enthusiast, as a lifelong entrepreneur with multiple businesses, I know for certain that everyone listening to this wants to be at that point where customers are coming to you. So we're going to dive into so much with Justin today, and hopefully you guys get some value. Not even hopefully, I know you'll get some value out of today's show. Justin, welcome to the Catapulting Commissions podcast.
Yeah, you're 100% multiplier. I'm 100% simplifier. So that's 100% collaboration. And you talk about selling. I don't sell anything. I don't even say the word sales unless it's in this conversation. I don't sell anything. I haven't sold anything outbound funnels in years. Just create value and leads to value.
I love how you say that. You create value, leads to value. You're not selling anything. And I love it. I tell people the best sale takes place when no one's selling something. But business and dollars make sense, Justin.
Right.
I mean, you've built a global company of massive proportion, and you're working with top people, top mindsets. Can you help us? Give us a high level overview of exactly what your organization does.
Sure. So again, I'm 100% simplifier. So all I hear is blah, 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 and I turned it into a pattern. So it's actually a surprisingly simple formula for building a successful global company. Here's the whole formula. All this other stuff is just landing the plane. But here's the formula. Is you see a problem, you create solution to problem solve, successful global company. See a problem, create solution, solve problem, successful global company. So that's all I did in the PR space. I was a journalist for 20 years, created my entire business model based on how PR firms annoyed me for 20 years. Saw a problem, created solution, problem solve, successful global company. So that's all I hear over and over and over and over again. We're annoyed by something. We see this gap in the system. We create a solution, and we solved it. And then they want to get in news and media at a high level to help amplify that. So that's all my company does. It just solves that problem to get from people to here to here. That's it. That's all it does.
And you are absolutely correct. You completely simplify it. And
problem solved.
Yeah, you're solving a problem. You're not selling it. You're just solving a problem. And when you and here's how I would articulate. I would challenge you that you're a salesperson, even though you don't say it. The bigger the problem you solve, the bigger the investment should be. The bigger the problem.
100%.
So I love exactly what you're saying when you're saying you're solving problems. But let's talk about this. You've built a company from scratch. You've grown it exponentially.
Correct.
And I know for a certainty, there's people listening to this show that can't crack that barrier of getting successful in their own company. And I don't want to toot your horn, but I'm going to toot it here, man. You've built a global company. You only work with top people and mindsets. So that means you're telling people no. You're saying, I don't want to take
all
your
the
money.
time.
Right? And you've done that in less than 3 years. You don't have a business background. You're a PR
Zero.
guy. How'd you do that?
Okay, so blah, 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 simplify, pattern. So if you have the right mindset, it creates the right network, which creates the right opportunities. So all I do every day is I just work on my mindset, and I only partner with people that have these 3 attributes in their mindset, okay? 3 attributes, because if you have these 3 attributes, you can only be 2 types of people. That's it, because all I do is simplify and see patterns. So I will say that 100 times because that's all I do. So the 3 attributes are visionary, abundance, and you said the third word already, investment. Visionary, abundance, investment. So people, sorry for the ding. So the people with those 3 attributes can only be one of 2 types of people. 1, they're running high 6-figure to 10-figure businesses. They see their families whenever they want to. and they do what they like to do and what they're good at, or they're going to be in that first group. They're not there yet revenue-wise, but they will be because they have that mindset. So it eliminates people that ask, what do you cost or charge? It eliminates scarcity mindset. It just eliminates all that, eliminates all the noise and nonsense, and it just focuses on people that want to make the investment, and they'll make the investment.
Man, you 100% make it simple. It sounds simple.
It is. So most people can't execute on it. That's the difference.
So let me pick your brain. How do you identify, right? I mean, these are your customers at the end of your day. These are your clients. So
Right.
how do you identify that visionary and the abundant mindset? We're going to get to the investment separately, because I can even articulate and believe there's some people that can make the investment but don't have the visionary or the abundant mindset. So I think you run it a bit of both. But how do you find that person?
Yeah, so those people are hard to find at first. When I started my company, I reached out to 5,000 people to get my first 5 clients, and none of those 5 clients had those 3 attributes in their mindset. But when you start a business and don't have business background, you hustle, entrepreneur hustle. So the people with those 3 attributes, they're very hard to find at first. But when you do find them, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 100, 100 becomes 1,000, 1,000 becomes 10,000. So my company's just tens of thousands of people with that mindset. That's literally all it is. It's just a giant incubator of geniuses around the world, and we're constantly introducing each other. So what I used to hear a lot, and I don't hear it much anymore, but if someone asks, what do you cost or charge within the first 5 or 10 minutes, they don't have that mindset. If somebody's asking you the same question 15 times because they don't understand after the first time you say something, which you understand everything I'm saying after the first time I'm saying it, then they don't have that mindset. So it just eliminates that. And my brain, I have a strange brain, but it's been very effective in this world, is that it's a CRM of names and knowledge. Someone can just say something and I'll be like, oh, that part of my brain, good. And then if someone says something where I know it's an immediate, rejection type thing, then they disappear from my brain. It's very simple. And I just keep track of the people that understand what I'm talking about.
Okay. So what I hear from you there, you have this ideal client avatar, and who this person is going to fit in.
Yes.
And again, I love having you on the show, Justin. And I know we've chatted before, so I'm comfortable saying this. I know you say you're not a salesperson. 5,000 people to reach out for 5 clients. That's pretty salesperson-ish. I mean, you built this from the ground up. But what I love here is you have this exact client avatar, and if this person doesn't fit in this mold,
See you later.
they're not in your organization.
No.
I mean, that's the mistake I hear.
That's the number one mistake. You don't even need to finish it. So
Yeah.
So here's the thing, and people, when I say this, are like, oh, that's interesting. So here's the first part. I know who I am, great, but I really know who I'm not. That's the bigger deal. Most people might know who they are, but they don't know who they're not. I know who I am, and I know who I'm not. I know the people that I like talking to and work with and partner with and who are my clients, and I know the people who aren't. And there's no deviation from that. There's a very, 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 very small third group. You're either cost scarcity or visionary investment. 99.9999% of the time, there's a tiny, minuscule third group that I'll talk to them and the light switch will go on. But for the most part, one or the other, black and white.
I've not heard it explained in that manner, but as you're saying that, I think about myself. I think about the people that I connect with and spend time with. And I've come to realize at this point in my life, and people who I talk to and socialize with have that visionary mindset. I mean, I have colleagues. Yeah, I have colleagues who we're looking at 5, 6 in the morning. It's a constant visionary mindset. And I know there's people who love, who work, have a work-life balance. I call myself a morning work hustler. Like between 5 and 9 a.m., I'm on fire. Between like 11 and 1, honestly, man, I could probably just relax for a little bit. It's just how our mind works. But as you're saying that, let's go back and piggyback on something. So if somebody has that visionary mindset and they have this belief in themselves into abundance, but they don't have that investment yet, how do you keep that person engaged with you? Do you bring that person on board? Do you just say, hey, wrong timing? I know you're really selective on it. And then my counter question to that is, when someone has the investment but doesn't have the other part, how do you treat those two potential clients?
Yep. So what you said was super interesting, especially the second part, because I haven't met someone who has the investment mindset that doesn't have the other two. And maybe because I'm so direct, it never even gets to that point. That's why I'm so direct, because it weeds out nonsense. It weeds out nonsense. My answer to the first part is, people with the wrong mindset make the excuse. People with the right mindset make the investment. There are no excuses. You just make the investment. So I've had multiple billionaires who are clients, and then I've had, I think, 4 or 5 people who are dirt broke. They've taken out second credit cards or second loans to invest, because there are no excuses. At the highest level, there are no excuses. You either make the investment or there's no excuses. I mean, there's just no excuses.
Dude, Justin, that is music to my ears. You're betting on yourself.
Of course.
And I love that. When I created and launched the Catapulting Commissions brand, one of my mentors in life, we had a long, in-depth conversation, and we had talked about making it an investment, and I was looking to park some money in some commercial real estate, and I said, you know what, man, I gotta be honest with you, I have no problem investing, but right now I think I'm gonna invest in myself. And
love it.
My mentor's response, because he was talking about being my partner on this, he says, you know what, Anthony, I've known you for so long. If you're willing to bet on yourself with this investment, go for it, buddy. And I'm like, you know what? I've never looked back since, and I love it. So to hear you say that, man, I mean, yeah, dude, people bet on themselves. They eliminate the excuses.
Okay, so let me. You want to hear something hilarious? Because,
please.
Now I rarely get these messages, but I did get a message recently about this. Okay, so this is a prospective client. I'm going to read this to you.
Fair enough.
Because it kind of does answer your question, but this is interesting. Okay, so this is from them. We have talked with the board and have established the importance of your service, and now we have to generate the income to go forward with your service. Thus, it may take 30 to 60 days to fit you into our budget to begin the PR you provide. Any thoughts on speeding this process up? I.e., can you give us a discount, right?
Right.
Here's what I wrote back. Looking forward to partnering up when you have the funds to invest. Next discussion is when you are ready to sign and invest. Done. Betting on myself. 1, I know the people that I work with now, they're not going to send me a message like that. 2, I'm serious. People respect people who are serious. And if they don't respect it, I don't want to work with them anyway. So betting on yourself, being confident, being serious. Confidence weeds out nonsense. That's what I've learned. Not arrogance. Arrogance is a big difference in confidence, but confidence will weed out nonsense. And so most people are the ones that will send you messages like that. That's how most people are. I just don't work with anyone like that. Why would you do that? Because people like that are just going to cause problems.
Man, I love what you said there, and I want Catapulting Commissions family to hear what Justin's saying there. The amount of respect Justin has for his time and his skill set is at an all-time high.
Oh, it's just beginning. That's what I work on every day. I will keep working on that impenetrable mindset and confidence.
Dude, Justin, I would even go to say that what you charge today and what you charge 5 years from now is not even going to be the same.
Because I just doubled my rates a month ago.
Exactly. You are getting that much better, that much more confident in that skill set. And Catapulting Commissions family, I need you to hear that. Justin doesn't compromise who he is for the business, the lifestyle, the income that he wants.
Why would you do that?
I love it.
So here's my disqualifier. I have 2 sons who are 6 and 8. My father died when I was 13, so the number one important, and I'm very happily married. My wife's an angel. So I know what it's like to not have a dad around. So my disqualifier, besides what do you cost and charge, is if I meet someone and I immediately can determine they're going to annoy me and take time away from me and my children, I'll never talk to that person again. Because why would you invest time with someone who's going to take time away from your children? It doesn't. If they're going to annoy you, I just don't understand that. And so many entrepreneurs are consumed with, this is fine, but they're consumed with revenue and office space and employee count and all that stuff. doesn't really mean anything to me. I just want to spend time with my kids and work with people that get it.
Man, amen to that, dude. I dig that, dude, because they're you say the entrepreneurs that want office space. I look at, there's a couple of sales groups that I belong to in social media because I like to see what in the world sales are thinking about, and I've started unsubscribing or getting out of groups when people start talking about watches and cars and wealth, and I look at them like, man, I came to you 2 years ago to do market research, and slowly I have realized where I'm going and where you're at are far apart because
It's
that's what they're
nonsense.
focused on. It's stupid. I hate it. I hate the flash. I hate that whole thing. We talked before. Honestly, man, I'm in sweats and a sweatshirt right now talking to you. I'm
Yeah,
comfortable
well,
as that.
I'm in a
Yeah.
t-shirt. And so here's what's really interesting. I mean, so what you said about me was very profound, that I don't sell anything, but it sounds like I'm selling anything. You talk about sales all the time. I don't think you're selling anything. I mean, that's so you and I are the same with different verbiage. Same.
You know what? I take that as a huge compliment from you, Justin, because
Oh, thanks.
I the clients that I've retained, I don't even ask, hey, do you want to do business with me? I tell them, I said, hey, look, we're gonna find this problem, we're gonna solve this problem, and every time, every client I've signed up was, how do I continue using you? How do we make this work? Well, here's, and then you lay out the details. But I have said to employees that I've trained, sales reps that I've mentored, I said it on the show. The best sale takes place when no one's selling something because
No,
it is
right.
a truly beneficial relationship.
It's a partnership. And so that's why I don't talk to anyone who asks, what do you cost or charge? Because they're looking at things in a transactional way. That's not transformational. It's all transactional. That's just landing the plane nonsense. And I'm in 3 of the top entrepreneurial groups in the world, and it's all transformational at that level. There's no competition. It's all collaboration. There's so much business out there for people who understand and have the right mindset. I mean, there's plenty of business, and there's endless abundance and opportunities. And again, when you know who you are and who you're not, it eliminates all that other stuff. It just does.
I like that. I agree with you. And I would also even articulate, I think at a certain level of success, right? At a certain level of growth, it's no longer competition. This company does more than me. I
Oh,
don't view anybody as competition.
there is no competition. So my
Love it.
company's entire process, exactly what my company does, is on my website. Like, it's literally right there. There's no hidden tricks. This is what my company does. Boom, 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 boom. 4 steps. There's no competition. Do you want to know why there's no competition? 1, because people don't have my mindset. 2, there's plenty of business to go around, and it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's all collaboration anyway. And it's, we have a certain amount of time on Earth, right? You have a certain amount of time. And so how do you want to spend that time? Do you want to spend time being annoyed and dealing with people you don't want to? Or do you want to spend your time enjoying your family, if you have one, or enjoying time with people that you care about, and doing what you like to do and what you're good at? And so I just don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me, like why you wouldn't do that, but most people, they don't think like that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think the mindset you have, Justin, the mindset you use to build your company, have to build your organization, if more, point blank, if more entrepreneurs and sales professionals just had that mindset from the get-go,
That's all it
level
is.
the level of success would be exponentially huge, way bigger than whatever you're experiencing now.
Yep.
But it's that scarcity mindset,
Yep.
and there's the reverse role of it, and we're gonna pivot gears here with Justin for a second, but I want to land this. There's a reverse role of what Justin is telling you. That mindset he has for his wealth, for his company, for his growth, that abundant mindset, it works the opposite in the world of sales, family. When you have the opposite mindset of what happens if my prospects aren't there. You have a scarcity mindset that you're going to run out of prospects to talk to you.
Mhm.
It works the exact opposite way. You can literally spiral yourself down to get
Immediately.
the negative results that you're forecasting upon your life. So
Right.
if there's anything to take away from this first segment of this show, the mindset Justin has with his PR firm, it, emulate it. Emulate it as best as you can, and share the results with me. Text me, let me know how that goes. So, Justin, you said something in the beginning of the show that at this point, I think this is 70 episodes in on the Catapulting Commissions podcast. I've interviewed some amazing folks thus far, but I've never had anyone say, I know who I am, but more importantly, I know who I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you learn that about yourself?
Yeah, so I have 5 to 10 conversations every Monday through Friday with the highest level thinking entrepreneurs in the world. And so when someone says something profound, I incorporate it into my life. So one of the people I've talked to is Jesse Elder, who's a genius. Jesse Elder. And I was talking to him, not about business, because I barely ever talk about business. We were just talking, because that's what I do most of my day. And then he's like, oh, yeah, he sent me who he is, and then he sent me who he's not. And I'm like, oh, that's great. That's the great part about who you are, but I was really fascinated by who he's not. And the really interesting thing was, and got him thinking, is that he sent me who he was not first. Then he sent me who he is. So he actually wrote down who he was not first. So that's an exercise I'll be doing very soon. I'll be writing who I'm not. Even though I know who I'm not, I'll write it down. And then I'll write who I am, even though I've already written down who I am. So yeah, when you hang, let me say this, I'll land the plane. So when you have this mindset, all it does is attract people like that at the highest level. Jesse's one of the smartest people on the planet. It just attracts people like that, and then they create the right opportunities for you. There's no outbound anything. Just people create opportunities for me all the time because they have the right mindset and they attract the right people who want to create opportunities for you.
Oh man, I love it, dude. I love it. Writing down who you're not, right? I think that's an exercise I'd love to partake in, where I actually write it down. I can articulate who I'm not, but to really pinpoint, fine tune it, I think that's something that we all should know. We all should learn about ourselves.
100%. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, dude, you're perfectly fine. Justin, I want to talk a little bit about, you introduced me about a week and a half ago to Colby. And I took a Colby exam. I mean, immediately when we got off our call, I'm like, dude, I need to take this thing and figure out. And I read it, and it was the most like honest to truthful synopsis overview of who I am. Can you tell us a little bit about what Colby is, what the scores mean, and all that good stuff?
Sure. So just to very quickly react to the other previous question, is who I am. I'm a connecting hero who transforms lives for visionary investment, abundance mindset entrepreneurs, and shares their stories with the world. So all these dings, by the way, I turn off all my dings except for my cell phone because I can't turn that off. So all those dings are people introducing me to other people or saying, hey, how you doing? Something great happened. It's just endless dings. They're good dings, okay? But it's endless dings. And if I didn't turn off all the other ones, there would be no interview here because it would sound like a Christmas bell. So Kolbe, Kolbe. It's the A index test. 55 US dollars. Takes about 25 minutes. So it's the most important test I've ever taken in or out of school. And because I simplify and see patterns, there's 2 reasons why. 1, every time I talk to someone who understands or knows what Kolbe is, it's a higher level of conversation. 2, it's the Bible of Strategic Coach, which is the top entrepreneurial organization in the world, which I've been very fortunate to be a part of for the last 2 years. And that was co-founded by Dan Sullivan, who's the top entrepreneurial coach who's ever lived. I'm very confident saying that. I mean, any entrepreneur who's anyone would likely agree with that. So those are the 2 reasons why. So Kolbe, if you just look at the black and white part of it, it's 4 scores. There are no bad scores. It's just 4 scores in 4 categories. And it's not your personality. That's the big difference between a lot of these other tests and this one. Most tests are your personality. Kolbe is your brain strengths, how your brain actually works. And so the scores are 1 to 10. So the first score is fact finder. I'm an 8 fact finder. You're a 6. So that's very high. I've only met one 9 fact finder. I've never met a 10 because you'll never meet a 10 fact finder because they'll be in a library or they'll be a monk. You'll never meet that person. So you're a 3 follow through. The next score is follow through. 3 follow through. That's typical for a high level entrepreneur. I'm a 6 follow through, which is insanely high for a high level entrepreneur. That's most high level entrepreneurs are a 2 or 3 follow through. I know a lot of 1 follow throughs. You're an 8 quick start, which is right on par with an incredibly high level entrepreneur. So 8 quick start, boom, 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 boom. I'm a 7 quick start, which is also very high. And so you are the typical entrepreneur where you're high quick start, low follow through. So you say it and then you forget about it. Or you have to have somebody follow up to help you because otherwise nothing would get done. So most people with your Kolbes hire big teams or hire assistants or whatever because they don't have follow-up. So I'm the incredibly rare entrepreneur that has high quick start, boom, 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 and high follow-through, which it doesn't make sense, but in my brain it does. So I say it, do it, say it, do it. It just gets done. And then the last score is implementer. You're a 3, which isn't, that's fine. So implementer means working with your hands, building things.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 is pretty low, but I'm a 1. I would be a negative 3 billion implementer if that number existed. If you ask me to assemble anything, if my kids ask me to do a puzzle, follow directions, I'll peel out in my car to get away from doing that. Things a monkey could do, like things that a child could do, I can't do them because I just can't. I mean, I could do it, but it's a nightmare for me, as you can tell, even talking about building something. So those are the 4 scores, and the only thing I write down with someone is their name and their Kolbe score, because when you know someone's Kolbe score, I just match people with their Kolbe scores, because when you understand Kolbe, it's a higher level of conversation 100% of the time.
Okay. So how do I and you said something which is really funny, and I'm sure I'm not going to tell you it, but it's going to uncover soon. You said something about my personality, right? And my Kolbe score is 6383, which the 3 is the follow through. How does someone take their Kolbe score and adjust? I mean, you say you connect people, but let's just go self-assessment. I learned this about myself,
Right.
and I need to make adjustments and plans. And I think this thing was dead on accurate.
Of course.
It's forced me to make a change in 2021 for my business, and where I'm looking at it now. But what changes would you recommend for somebody who has my score? Saying, hey, let's maximize who you are.
Your score. Well, do you want to just do your score?
We can do mine. We can do yours. We can do anyone's. It's whatever's easier for the context here.
Yeah. So your score is more common for a high level entrepreneur. So we'll do your score. I'm a unique. I've met maybe 3 people with my score in 4 years. It just doesn't. It's every time I talk to someone, I tell them their Kolbe score, like, well, that doesn't make sense. I go, well, it is what it is. So you summed it up already. The score was dead on. So if you took this test 20 years from now and you weren't going through a massive transition or a crisis, the score would be the same. It's been around for decades, and it's the Bible of strategic coach. So, and it's not your personality, it's your brain strength. So the score doesn't change over time. So your score, you have high quick start, low follow through. So I don't know how many employees or people you have working with you, but the advice would be to hire people, because otherwise nothing's going to get done, or things won't get done as well as they should, because you don't have high follow through. So that's going to exhaust you to the point to follow through on anything. And that's the main thing. Usually people with your score, not always, but usually people with your score are the visionaries, and then they need an integrator, a COO, whatever that is, to integrate.
Oh man, Justin, I'm laughing as you say this, because let's just say you put 2 business partners together that are both high fact finders, high quick starters, but low on the follow through.
Wait, 2 like co-founders?
Yeah.
That would be a disaster. I mean, it could, but that sounds like a disaster. I mean, that doesn't. 2 visionaries? No. Every visionary needs an integrator. Every integrator needs and integrators are harder to find. So that's why I'm so at the unicorn, because I am a visionary who can integrate, and it's not hard for me to do it. And there's a book called Rocket Fuel. Gino Wickman, who created EOS, he wrote that. It's an excellent book. And so in the book, he said there are these tiny amount of exceptions of people that can do both at a very high level. And that's not an excuse not to hire someone, but there are exceptions. So I probably am one of those exceptions. I just am. I'm a unicorn. But so yeah, like it's endlessly beneficial for your company, endlessly beneficial because so like the number one, when I hire an integrator or whatever that person is, whatever to build my newsroom or whatever that becomes, the number one qualification, the number one thing is that they must have at least a 7 follow through on Colby, because that's a higher follow through than me. They have to have a higher follow through than me. So it's beneficial in your company, but for me, I found it even more beneficial in my life. And there's 2 reasons why. One, my wife is taking the test. She's a pediatrician, she's not an entrepreneur, thank God, because again, 2 visionaries together, whether it's at home or in the work. No. So she's an 8-7-4-2. So 8 fact finders, 7 follow through. She's higher follow through than me. She's a 4 quick start, lower quick start, and she's a 2 implementer, and which is horrible, but it's better than a 1. And so when we have to assemble anything, she will hate doing it, but she'll do it, whereas I'll peel out of my car to get out of doing it. And so whenever we try assembling anything, it always creates a conflict. Why? Because we're both terrible at doing it. We're both terrible implementers. So it makes perfect sense. So when you understand, and this is a rambling answer, but this is all it is. I mean, so when you understand whether it's at work or at home, that score will reveal what you need to know very quickly.
Dude, you hit the nail on the head so well there, Justin. That score, and you are absolutely correct. So the reason I asked for 1, the visionary, and 2, what somebody in my situation would do, because what you just said is I've gotten to the point where within the Catapulting Commissions brand and that company, I have my assistant Tara, who's phenomenal.
Good.
And I've realized if Tara doesn't have something on her to-do list or doesn't have something to do for like, it doesn't get done. Like if it's like, oh, Anthony, I'll do it. It ends up in a pile of everything that I'm going to do later.
Yeah, that's not going to get done.
And it doesn't get done. So I've literally have gone to my wife and said, I think I need to double down on my Terras because the business is growing. They get more done because they want
to do it. They want to do it. They just want to follow through on our wackadoodness. That's all it is. I mean, but then they're happy to do it. And so they're in their element, their zone of genius, and you're in your zone of genius, so everybody wins. So to circle it all together, have them take the test. I'm guessing they have high follow. I don't know about your wife. Is your wife an integrator, or what does she do for a living?
So my wife is a entrepreneur as well, which is she's a newfound entrepreneur. COVID created some opportunities for her, so now she owns an eyelash studio in downtown Bakersfield. She's also a partner in a skincare company.
Wow.
So she has some things, but her partner in the skincare company is one of my best friends. We were just talking the other day about making some traction and making some movement. He's a serial entrepreneur, and I literally said, "Hey, man, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know if we need another partner, but we should hire somebody because the direction and the way your brain works and the way my brain works, we're really good at getting this here. I need someone to implement. I just need someone to run with this.
Yeah, you need an integrator.
That's it." Right. So, yeah, to hear you say that, I'm gonna have my wife take this, and I'm gonna have one of my best friends, who's my wife's business partner, on their company take it, because I definitely think when you don't know, I guess how do I say it? When you don't know who you are, or you don't know the flaws you have, or you don't know your challenges, you don't know how to improve. Correct. And some people would take this, and I took these results. I actually sent them to my mom. I sent the entire report. I'm like, Mom, read this over.
Right.
And she's like, is this good or bad? I'm like, well, I said, I don't view it bad. I view it as enlightening. I view it as, here's who you are. Here's what you're learning about yourself. So, so Catapulting Commissions family, I 100% highly recommend learn who you are. Justin said, learn who you aren't, because then you know how to go about things. You know how to move things in the correct direction. There's professional athletes, baseball players, can't hit a curveball. Doesn't mean they're bad. There's professional basketball players, can't make a free throw. doesn't mean they're bad. They just know their strengths and know their weaknesses. I think the same has to apply with your entrepreneurial career, your sales career, what you do for a living.
Right. Yeah. So I can't, things a child could do, I can't do them, but I can get people in news at the very highest level and connect people at the very highest level. They're a world-class genius, but I can't do anything else. So I just do what I can do at the highest level. And I don't do anything that I don't like to do and I'm not good at. That's it.
I love that. I continue to hear one thing from you, Justin, that I think is incredibly admirable. The respect you have for your time and the standards you have for your business. Everyone needs to hear that. Everyone needs to implement that. Not everyone will, which is why you exist and which is why your company is successful.
Right.
But people need to hear that.
Well, thank you for saying that. And if it does help people, because I see patterns and how my brain and mindset have evolved, this is kind of how the process works. So when you start a company, you get to get. So I reached out to 5,000 people to get 5 clients, right? So you get to get. Then you get to give. So you're giving a little bit, but you're mostly getting. You're still mostly getting. Then you give to get, so you're mostly giving to get a little back. You're giving mostly to get a little back. And then you're at the place where I'm at. I just give to give with a caveat. I only give to the people that have the right mindset, because otherwise it's just giving to people, the time vampires who they're just time vampires. So I just give to the right people. Byproduct is company's insanely profitable. I'm constantly getting incredible intros to all these awesome people. Some of them want to hire my firm.
Good for you, my friend. Good for you. You know, there's one thing we didn't talk about. I want to spend our last few minutes here wrapping this up. You have a book on Amazon right now, Epic Business. It has
Hold up
nearly.
your book first.
There it is. The cat.
There's yours. There's mine.
I love the color scheme too. I really do.
It's hilarious.
So tell us a little about Epic Business.
Yep. Happy to do that. So a lot of people write books and they're meaningless because they don't mean anything. I don't do a lot of things, but if I do them, it has to be at the highest level. So Chris Voss, who wrote Never Split the Difference, did the foreword. You know, anybody who knows anything has read Never Split the Difference or knows who Chris Voss is. So your book is a #1 bestseller in 6 business categories, right? Isn't that correct?
Correct.
Yep. So mine's a #1 international bestseller in 6 countries. There's so much in common that we have. And it was #1 for entrepreneurship in the U.S. And so when my company celebrated its 30-month anniversary, which was October 16, 2019, I posted a list of 30 things that I had learned in the company's first 30 months from some of the top entrepreneurs in the world, and how I incorporated that into my company. So I published that list, and I think at the time I had 35,000 followers on social media, and everybody's like, "Oh, you need to write a book, write a book, write a book." So I have high quick start and high follow through, so I wrote a book and signed with one of the top micro publishers in the United States, Rebecca Hall Grider. She's based in California, and then wrote the book in 43 days. It came out in May, and it's been, each one of those lessons is a chapter. So boom, 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 boom. No fluff, just. I think you're in it where it's almost the same length as yours. How many pages is your book?
119.
119. So mine's up like 150, but it's more spaced out. So it's about the same. It's about the same length too, because less is more.
Yeah.
And less is more. So it's just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I like the less is more. I actually found it challenging, and I've shared this with people who've asked about my book. I found it more challenging to condense my thoughts into a smaller chapter than to ramble on. And I was like, if I could keep your attention for 60 seconds, what is it that I want you to hear? What is it that I want you to read? And so it was one of the best exercises. And honestly, it's transformed the way I do business now, because now I realized typically I know which direction the conversation is going in immediately. And I enjoy that, because I'm always trying to say, how can I give you as much value as I possibly can in the shortest time possible? Right. If you return the value, this conversation is going to keep going. If you don't return the value, then I kind of know where we're going also.
And there's nothing else to say. And I mean, our brains are so complex. It's really fascinating. The first time I talked to you, I was like, oh, this guy. I'm kind of staring off into space right now. This guy, like, you really get it at a high level, really high level. By the way, when we were talking, I guessed your Colby score would be a 6.473. Or wait, I think it was a 6.373 that I guessed. No, I guess 6.473 and you're 6.383. So that's the other thing about Colby is that, like, I could just talk to people and be like, oh, this is probably your Colby because I just see how your brain works. And it's when you talk to enough people and then they know their Colbys or whatever, you can just I can just process it very quickly. And but you're a very high level thing. I mean, dude, you're floating around, man. You're visionary at the highest level, man. It's gonna be very exciting to see. Like, you're already killing it, but where you'll be in, as you said, 5 years or even a year would be very interesting to me.
You know what, Justin, I appreciate you sharing that. And Catapulting Commissions family, you have followed me for year one of this journey in 2020. We are in 2021 with year two of the Catapulting Commissions brand at launch. And to hear you say that, Justin, is incredibly comforting because there is a trajectory that this company is going, and it's looking to emulate and follow the steps of what you've done with your organization. So as we wrap up, Justin, if someone wants to learn more about you, learn more about your company, how can they find you?
Sure. Company's called BrEpic. I always like during these interviews that we never even talk about the company for the most part. It's really funny, or the name or anything, because that doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. So, company's name is BrEpic, and then Justin Breen on LinkedIn. I have about 25,000 followers there, and book is called Epic Business, and it's all over the world. So I really appreciate this awesome interview. It's done this in a year. I mean, you're so far evolved for a year. When you start a business, it really takes 2 full years to figure it out, but you've cut that in half, I think. So that's very impressive.
Well, Justin, I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you for joining the Catapulting Commissions podcast, Catapulting Commissions family. All those links will be in the show notes. We talked with Justin Breen. We're going to connect with you on LinkedIn. His book, Epic Business. Be sure to go ahead and get that on Amazon. And we'll give you all the link to BrEpic. There you go. To BrEpic Communications. So as we finish this thing up, one small favor. Go ahead and go follow Justin on LinkedIn. Get connected with him. If you liked today's show, found some value, comment, subscribe, like. I'd love to hear from you. You can always message and get a hold of us. All that information will be in the show notes. Justin, I wish you nothing but an abundant, successful 2021, my friend. And I look forward to hearing how the rest of the year goes for you. Catapulting Commissions family, I'll see you next week. Thanks again.